what's up everyone? We have this Toro here. It's relatively new. Kind of has a little bit of a MTD feel to it, which makes sense, but that's not the point. Point is, it's not starting. So instead of me having you watch me just pull on the cable and not have anything happen, I say we just get into it, shall we? So first things first, I did go ahead and remove the air filter because these do have a tendency of getting nasty, and an air filter will kind of tell you a good story. It doesn't have oil or fuel or anything on it, so I don't suspect a valve issue, which is common. So what I'm thinking is fuel. Now, I don't even know how old it is. There was fuel in there. I mean, there is. It's not horrible, but these do not like aged fuel whatsoever. They're practically like the Leonardo DiCaprio of mowers, so they don't like aged things. So I think what we're going to end up doing is we're going to take off the carb, give it a quick little service. All you need is a couple bits, 8 and 9 millimeter, or no, 7 or 8. I forget. I'm pretty sure it's 7 and 8, and a couple pair of pliers, and we're good to go. So let's get started. Now, I did just make a video on this very same mower, kind of going over if I think it is a good mower or motor. So, shameless plug, but if you are on the fence, if you want to keep yours or looking to buy one and you see that's not working and want to see if you can do it, watch that video and you have a little bit of an insight on my opinion on these engines. Spoiler, there's a maybe in there. What's that thing from Google? IFTTP? Don't remember. If this, then that. Which, if you're in home automation, it's a pretty good little tool to start off with. That one is the 8 millimeter. Now, we're going to take off the top just because it's easy. And it's going to afford us to have a lot more working room. Sometimes, though, the story behind this one is that it sat for a while. When it sits for a while, sometimes you can have friends in there. I don't see friends, though, so that's good. Okay, so let's get started. Well, hold on there. Over 90% of you, according to YouTube, are not currently subscribed. You're watching this video, but you're currently not subscribed. So I'm going to welcome you to subscribe at the end if this helped you out. I work on a lot of machines, so maybe the machine you're watching is going to be something you own, but who knows? Maybe you own a generator, a pressure washer, a big mower, a chainsaw, a variety of things. The only way to know if I'm going to fix it in the future is by subscribing, and maybe I get to the one that you own and can help you out then too. So I welcome you to subscribe, put a thumbs up if it does help you out. Back to your normal video. Hopefully that's a little better of a view, but we're just going to put a pair of vice grips on that. And we do need a pair of pliers to kind of remove this here fuel clip. Now my pliers are kind of in the way. We'll break the seal first and then we'll put it back on. Fuel lines really do like to have a seal after a while, so I think we're gonna take the tank off. It's gonna be easier than trying to work around that stupid seal or the pliers. I made a video before And I call them vice grips because in my opinion they are vice grips, but it's like saying tissues. Same thing with Kleenex. It's a brand. Someone got super upset about that. Not really sure why, because they're not true vice grips, I suppose. But people be people. Now, rock it, rock, rock, rock. Eventually, there we go. It will come off. So it's an interesting little game. Which one do we want to take off first? I'll take off the throttle first, because the choke is a little bit more forgiving. And there we go. So here's something that a lot of people forget on videos especially, is you see this? There is a little O-ring. Try to find a clean spot for that. And a retaining clip for said O-ring. If yours fell off, or not fell, but came off when removing the carb, you're going to want to take it off because it does need to make a pretty good seal. So you need to put the O-ring back in, and then the retaining clip will snap into place. There we go. Obviously, if you're stayed in the carb, you don't have to do that, but good to know. So I'm going to get a cup for the fuel, and let's take a look at it. Let's see if we can't. That's literally going to take forever. So that was clean. However, there is dirt on the outside of the carb, so we're not going to really pay too close of attention to the cleanliness of that. But we do need to pay attention to the color of the fuel. Oof. Yeah. It's not good. Not good at all. That is going to cause havoc with this style of carburetor. That's not fresh whatsoever. So we definitely have a fuel problem. I know, I should have checked for spark and compression and all that. Problem with the compression part, at least, is there's a compression release on these motors, so it's a little hard. As long as you feel a resemblance of compression, it's going to be probably okay. I mean, it still could be a piece of crap, but if you're getting something because it was sitting for such a long time, probably not going to have a compression issue. And if you do, it will be easily freed up just by getting to work on it or trying to get it to work. Get the junk out of the rings and or move them a little bit, kind of get them started. There is oil and it looks pretty good too. Forgot to mention that. Okay. This is the tricky part. This is what we're going to need to remove. You really do need to remove it. You can try blowing through here, but not a good idea. Not really going to do much. I personally take a small screwdriver, put it on the black part of this, and just kind of rock the screwdriver. Comes right out. No pliers, no marring. No one will really even know you're in there. Now I'm going to take an air compressor, blow all this off, and get it cleaned up. I'm going to take my air compressor on low air, by the way. Not going to do like the full 120 or anything. Probably going to go down to like 40 or 50. And blow through here, here, and here, and here. And that should get it nice and cleaned up. You can take this little piece off, but majority of the time it's not needed. Whew, this one is plugged up. My air compressor barely even made a noise, so take a wire from a little brush here Just gonna shove it in, give it a good twirl, probably a few times. Now we're gonna take the air compressor and do, do the same thing. Now, I can't stress this enough. You need to look inside there. If you need glasses, grab them. But the little jet has to be perfectly round. If you see anything making it kind of look a little weird, a little oblong, or maybe there's a little piece of something, take it out, clean it. It needs to be perfectly round. The jet needs to be 100% clear. These are so small. The smallest impediment is going to cause, at the very least, surging. And unless you like to hear your mower surge all the time, I'd recommend don't do that. So, now, we put this back in. This only goes on one way. So if you're trying to put it on and it doesn't work, turn it around. Pretty easy. I'm going to put the screws back in, and then I'm going to drain the fuel out of the tank because that tank is probably the same color. I might take a sample just to make sure, because something that can happen is maybe the tank was empty but the carb wasn't, and when they put fuel in the tank, none of it really made it to the carb. So I don't want to be wasting fuel, obviously, but if it's that same color, that's a no-go here. Let's see what we have here, shall we? This is what I think happened. There was a little bit of fuel in there, and then they filled it up, and so maybe like the bottom quarter, a little less, was old and the rest of it was new. I think that will work, so we're not gonna throw it away. I mean, this little bit we probably will dispose of, but we're gonna use what's in here. So let's go ahead and put the carb back on. I need to put the fuel tank in a position it's not going to tip over. There is a vent on it too, so you have to be careful that you don't start leaking from the vent either. I'm going to put the linkage for the throttle first. First off, first on. That's pretty much it. Now we just put the fuel tank on, and hopefully we don't spill too much. That vent is really making this difficult. Of course, this tank is like completely filled to the brim. There we go. Luckily, the little metal, if you want to call it that it connects to the tank is pretty thin. It's practically the same as sheet metal. In fact, I think it is sheet metal. And it's easy enough to temporarily bend it. And then bend it back once you're done. And we are. So now, this is a crank vent. It goes right here. Why am I not able to do this right now? Because that vent is causing irritation. There we go. Perfect. So I have a 7mm in my impact already. You are drilling into plastic, so don't go all hog wild on it. You're probably not going to see a whole lot on this one, but that's not where it goes. Oh, never mind, that is where it goes. And then the black ones are 8. And that's what kind of holds this whole thing on to that, what they would consider a bracket. And there should be one more somewhere. If I could find it. Oh, there it is. Perfect. Now, we just need to put the air filter on. Like I said, it's pretty decent, so I'm not going to worry about it. And we just need to put the cover back on. That just slips right on and gets 3 bolts. They have to have this little sleeve on them, so if you lose them, it's going to be a little hard. I mean, I guess you don't need to have a sleeve, but it's better to have the little sleeve because it just is. I mean, that's how it was made. And boom. Let's put you over there and see if this runs. I kid you not, if I wasn't recording this, I could do it in 8 minutes. I've timed it. In fact, I have a video on it. So, this is a very simple process. It can be a little annoying if you don't get 100% of it done, or we might have burned ourselves a little bit with that fuel, but we'll find out. Whew. Was this the one that was overfilled? No, that wasn't. Okay. I can't really tell, but the one that was overfilled was black, and the oil needed to be changed anyway, so it didn't matter. That's fresh oil. Like I said, I think this machine is practically brand new. I probably bought it, put it in a shed somewhere, didn't use it that much, and then it didn't start. Very common problem with these. So the only thing that you need is a pair of pliers, 8mm, 7mm socket. Impact driver would be convenient but not needed. I could just use this normal ratchet and a little bit of time. Ideally, if you have like a table like this, not a lot of people do, but if you have a truck, put it on your tailgate, just get it lifted up so you're not bending over, cracking your back, and yeah. You notice the white smoke coming out of it. That's pretty normal for something that's been sitting for so long. Eventually the oil will seep through the rings and go into the combustion chamber. Totally normal. As long as it doesn't do that every single time, that's okay. Or if it doesn't continuously smoke, that's okay. But if it's been sitting all winter or something, the first time you start it up, it has a little bit of white smoke. Don't be alarmed. It's just what happens. Unless you tipped it up and stored it like this, it's gonna happen. So no worries. So here we go. If you have a Toro with this style of motor, it's a newer Briggs, it's a 140cc. I wonder if Toro will honor that one. I doubt it. Anyway, do this, and like I said, super easy. I mean, it won't take very long whatsoever, but you know, it is important to at least take the fuel out of the carb and take a look at it, and make sure your fuel in the actual tank is fresh. That is something I cannot stress enough. What we saw was literally the borderline. If it was any darker, this wouldn't have ran. If it did run, it probably would have been real choppy and nasty. If it was like that, then I would tip it over, get a container, pour as much fuel out of it as possible, put fresh fuel, put it outside with like a clamp or something on the handle, let it run, let it consume all the bad fuel in the carb, and then by that point in time, the new fuel would have gone in and just kind of washed out the old fuel, and it should be fine. If you do that and it still isn't working, there might have been something in the bad fuel, and you do need to actually do this all over again. So, like I said, beware. Old fuel is not liked by these. I'm going to leave you at that. Follow me on Instagram at SmallEngine101. If you like what you see, keep watching, subscribe. If this helped you out, put a thumbs up because that helps me out as well. And I will see you on the next one. Have a good night.